The history of our civilization is built on the story of separate cultures coming into communication with each other. Humans are social creatures, and for good or ill, we have few desires stronger than to make contact with those we have never spoken to before. That desire seems to carry over from interhuman affairs to extraterrestrial affairs as well, and it seems that humanity's wish to speak to others among the stars has never been stronger. Given the choice to stay quiet or shout into the forest, humanity has definitely decided to make some noise.
While the detection of sentient life in the universe is essentially a waiting game over which we have little control, actually trying to reach out and instigate communication ourselves is an activity which we can participate in and already have. As our understanding of the universe increases, so does our ability to communicate. As our radio signals scream across the face of the cosmos, it may be only a simple matter of time before somebody hears our faint, distant hello. I'm Keegan Van Hook, and this is Crossed Signals.
Nowhere to be found.
Search for signals from civilizations in space, and just one, to broadcast a message to a distant star called
nowhere to be found.
But is there anyone out there to talk to?
There are immense technical challenges which must be overcome in order to broadcast a signal into deep space such that the message is still intact and decipherable when it arrives. Currently, there are only 3 facilities on Earth that possess the capability to transmit messages over massive interstellar distances. The ARECIBO Observatory in Puerto Rico, the Solar System Planetary Radar in Goldstone, California, and the Planetary Radar near VEVPATORIA, Crimea. If humanity was serious about efforts to communicate with others in the cosmos, we would build a purpose-made facility for this effort. But, for now, the planetary radars are the best available option for broadband signaling.
When it comes to radio transmission, the biggest challenge of all is finding a frequency to broadcast on which is likely to be monitored by aliens who are also looking for others in the cosmos. The frequency you choose could be considered another form of Schelling point, as described in our last episode. The electromagnetic spectrum contains certain frequencies which are significant in the cosmos and could be landmarks within the spectrum, such as the emission line of neutral stellar hydrogen. Broadcast powerfully on that frequency, and your signal stands a much greater chance at being picked up bright on the scopes of an alien world. Regardless of the frequency you choose, the important thing is being sure that your signal stands out from the background noise as clearly the product of intelligence. The content of the broadcast will be encoded into the signal via frequency modulation, which itself can be the telltale sign of our intelligence to the message's recipients. The patterns present in FM radio are highly indicative of intelligent tampering. Radio broadcast in general becomes highly inefficient when considering the options available with laser beam transmission. A laser is a beam of energy which can be directed at a specific target. Similar to radio waves, information can be encoded directly into the beam via modulation. Because of the directedness of the beam, a laser can outshine stars at distances of many light years. Let's see if we can visualize the difference between radio broadcast and laser beam transmission. Now, imagine you are on a dock at the far end of a large lake. Let's say that there are some bird watchers on the far end of the lake who we would like to try and get the attention of. Let's see if we can get their attention so that we can communicate with them. Try stooping down and disturbing the surface of the water to create ripples. Now, your ripples are sure to reach the other side of the lake, but they're going to dissipate massively on the journey, mixing with the natural and random waves already present in the lake. By the time they reach the other side, the birdwatchers are highly unlikely to notice our ripples as standing out from the background noise and become aware of our presence. This is what radio broadcast into space is like. Without a massive amount of initial energy, the signal becomes quickly disrupted. Now, dry off your hands and pull out a laser pointer and shine it over towards the birdwatchers. Now, pretty quickly, one is likely to notice the beam, and if they're clever, they could decode you clicking the light on and off as being Morse code, a message. This is the advantage of laser transmission. Combined with the knowledge of promising exoplanets' locations, a laser is by far the preferred means of communication. Having good technology and a lot of transmitting power are not the only factors when it comes to establishing contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. The content of your message is probably an even bigger obstacle to successful communication than the technology is. Your message cannot rely on anything remotely anthropocentric to convey its content.
Here on Earth, we send each other compressed audio and video data, often using very consistent encoding and decoding schemes. We have this luxury because we are already in contact with each other and can arrange to all have the correct tools to send, receive, and decode transmissions. Obviously, we all speak the same kind of vocal languages, so even when translation is necessary, chatting isn't terribly hard. When attempting to communicate with aliens, however, you're completely in the dark in terms of what tools the civilization uses to receive and decode transmitted messages. So, compressed audio and video is a bad direction to go for message creation. Furthermore, there's no telling what kinds of evolved traits for communication alien beings might have, so messages that depend entirely on audible or visual cues are unreliable.
One safe, broad assumption which could be made about intelligent life in the universe is that it will most often possess a certain recognition for special ideas. A special idea refers to universally significant ideas, like those found in physics or mathematics. According to Copernicus's principle of mediocrity, there is nothing special about Earth or the solar system in a wider context. Physics and science works the same here as it does everywhere else in the universe. Therefore, the laws of science that humans have discovered will be the same laws that another civilization discovers as well. Therefore, special ideas can be used as another form of Schelling point for increasing the likelihood that us and another civilization stumble upon each other.
In practicality, something like this would take the physical form of a transmission which starts by counting through the first 100 or so prime numbers, immediately showing off an understanding of mathematics and hopefully gaining the attention of other intelligence. Following that, you would want to include an encoding scheme for the receivers of the message to utilize in their translation of the message. This is tough because you have to hope that the receivers will be smart enough to understand the tool you're sending them. After that, you're ready to send along whatever more complex message you wish to relay. The message should not be too complex or too long so that the aliens have as high a chance as possible of successfully decoding the information. Experiments like this have been conducted before. In 1974, Frank Drake and Carl Sagan broadcast the now famous ARECIBO message to demonstrate the technological capabilities of the ARECIBO Observatory. They aimed a frequency-modulated radio broadcast at the M13 globular cluster and shot a message containing the numbers 1 through 10, the atomic numbers of atoms which make up DNA, a graphic representation of human beings, a map of the solar system, and an image of the ARECIBO telescope itself. In all, the transmission lasted for less than 3 minutes, with a journey of 27,000 years ahead of it. Since the ARECIBO message, more signals have been beamed towards the stars. Some are stronger than others, as the distances involved vary greatly. The soonest a message from Earth will arrive somewhere is the Rubisco message, sent from ARECIBO in 2009 for the 35th anniversary of the ARECIBO message. The message will arrive at TEEGARDEN star, about 12 light-years away, in 2022. TEEGARDEN has 2 Earth-massed planets in its habitable zone. If either of those planets are inhabited, we could expect a reply from them as soon as 2034.
If our cosmic cousins are out there, then communication with them is possible, even if it does sound far-fetched to some. The story of our conversation with them would be a tale told over the long expanse of future history, each exchange decades, centuries, or more apart, but always certain to contain revelations beyond our wildest imaginations. However, the universe is not by default a benevolent place. There may be serious dangers with our intention to broadcast blindly into deep space. Once our presence is known, it's up to the receivers of that knowledge what they might do with it. There are many in this field of research who stand to block the broadcast of Earth's location into the cosmos, but unfortunately for them, it may already be too late.
In our last episode, we discussed the concept of Dyson spheres. This is one of a multitude of ideas to come out of the great mind of Freeman Dyson, easily one of the most influential theoretical physicists of our time. On February 28, 2020, only a few days after the release of our episode, Freeman Dyson passed away, leaving behind an incredible legacy. Along with the Dyson spheres, Freeman Dyson contributed an incredible wealth of thought to the fields of science and engineering and expanded the scope of the human imagination. Dyson's concepts for space exploration and settlement have inspired me since I was in high school. Specifically, I recall with fondness his 2008 TED Talk on the subject of space-based life forms and using genetically modified organisms to create space habitats. It was foundational to how I see the universe and the future of life within it. This show, among countless other science programs which inspire me in their own right, owe its existence to Freeman Dyson and his life and work. Thank you, Freeman Dyson. You won't be easily forgotten, and I'm certain we'll be talking about you again many times to come.
Namaste. This episode of Crossed Signals has been brought to you by Page Made, Calming the Fray. This line of durable, comfortable hats is handmade from natural fibers. If you want one, check out the link in the description below, and thank you.
Nowhere to be found.
Please consider supporting our work on Patreon. Thank you.